Hi, y'all.
We're going to be bringing you a quick tomato soup recipe with things from your pantry.
Yes, real quick, real easy. We can whip this up in no time. Takes very little effort, and it is absolutely amazing. So let's get started.
All right, so you want a non-reactive
Pot, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to use cast iron, basically. You can use the enamel pots, but you don't want to use the cast iron. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. Get that all melted up nicely. Okay, so we got our pot on. Butter is melting away here. All right, got our onions finely diced. And we're going to add those. How many of those we got, sugar?
About 2.
Okay, so we got about 2 small onions and
then about 3 cloves of garlic.
Diced up fine here. And we're just going to give them a little toss about in the butter, just to get them nice and soft. We're just going to saute those about 10 minutes. Have y'all ever tried making your own tomato soup? And do you like it chunky or creamy? We like ours kind of creamy.
Yeah.
And this is such an adaptive recipe. You can add to it whatever you really like. So we're just going to give you the basics, and then y'all can play with it and tweak it to your liking and to your family. I encourage you to do that with any recipe, honestly, that you come across. Adapt it to your family's taste. Smells good, doesn't it?
Yes, it really does.
We're just trying to get these onions all nice and soft. Okay. Now that these are nice and soft, we're going to go ahead and add our crushed tomatoes. In our case, we are doing this is a stewed tomato that we canned, and we're going to add that in there. If you don't have stewed tomatoes, that's fine. You can just add crushed tomatoes. This just adds a little more flavor. And this is another can of that. So you're going to need 56 ounces of crushed tomatoes. Now this is a tomato sauce because we didn't have crushed tomatoes. We either had whole or we had sauce. And I'm going to do our sauce.
Okay. And we're going to add 2 cups of chicken stock.
Now this was in the fridge because we had some chicken earlier on in the week, and I just kept the broth from it. There we go. Okay, so our recipe calls for fresh basil, but we didn't have any, and so we're substituting some of our dried basil in here. And we'll leave this recipe down below for y'all, and you can add to it or take away from it however you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 tablespoon of brown sugar and half a teaspoon of black pepper.
We're going to stir it all together here. We're going to bring it to a boil, and then we're going to partially cover it, and we're going to simmer it for 10 minutes. Now, sometimes your tomatoes are a little tart or a little more acidic than other times. So feel free to adjust your sugar and your cream when we put our cream in here. So when you taste of it, if it's still a little too tart for your liking, go ahead and add some more sugar, and then you can always add a little extra cream. And that was brown sugar. Y'all can add white sugar. or all natural sugar. You can also add molasses in substitution to the sugar. So it's totally your call, whatever you have on hand or whatever your family likes. And while this is coming up to temperature and going to be boiling, if you want to just keep an eye on it and get if you want to have grilled cheese with this, you could go ahead and get your grilled cheese ready to be put on the griddle or in your pan or whatever while this is doing its thing. Just keep an eye on it till it starts to boil. All right, so this is starting to boil, so we're going to go ahead and put the lid on. What do we do? Halfway? And then what? So I'll put it on halfway, and then you're going to reduce it
to low, and then we're going to simmer it for 10 minutes.
Right. Set your little timer so you don't forget to get back over here and get a hold of it. Okay, our 10-minute timer has went off. We're going to go ahead and give this little guy a stir. Now we're going to use our immersion blender and turn him off. We just like our soup a little creamy, and so we're going to go ahead and use the immersion blender and blend it up a little bit. Now, if you like yours chunky, it's totally fine. You can just go on to the next step. But we like it creamy, so we're going to use our immersion blender. If you don't have an immersion blender, that's okay. What can they use?
You can just use a plain old regular blender.
Right. You can just ladle it off into a regular blender and blend it up that way. Just be careful because it is hot, okay? Okay.
Now we're going to add a half a cup of heavy cream.
All right.
And a third a cup of grated Parmesan cheese.
Delicious. Now, since ours is already mixed up, you would just mix this with maybe the spatula. But since ours is already mixed up with the immersion blender, I'm just going to mix it with it. Okay. It's going to be hot, but you want to give it a little taste. I think that's just right.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is where you'd add more cream, or if you needed to, you could add a little tiny bit more sugar to bring it to your family's liking.
All right, so over here we're making some hot ham and cheese, and we've just buttered one side of our bread, and Mom's sprinkling Italian seasoning on that.
Oh, it's so yummy with Italian seasoning.
Yeah.
And now this is the buttered side, so we're going to put it down on the grill, or the griddle rather. And then we're going to add a slap of cheese on here.
Maybe not too big.
We're going to put some ham on this. Thank you, darling. This is a hearty meal.
Yes. And super easy to throw together.
Come together in no time. We just got our ham here. We're just going to lay that on there. And that's our artesian bread, so it's quite large, so you can have a half a sandwich and it'll be just fine. Okay, so we're just going to brown those up. While these are browning, I'm going to get the soup ladled up. All right. Delicious. Okay, y'all, we're getting this plated up and ready for supper. Everybody's hungry. It's a little raw outside, so that's why we chose to do grilled cheese and soup tonight. I know grilled cheese is just a real quick little thing, and most everybody knows how to make it, but I wanted to show you how we go about making our own tomato soup, because so many people, um, you know, we'll just grab whatever's at the grocery, the quick and easy stuff, and it's really, really easy to do your own at home. So hopefully this was helpful for y'all. We sure do enjoy having y'all here in the kitchen with us. And as always, keep it simple
and fun. Also, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you guys don't miss any of our fun videos. And don't forget, share it with your friends.